let me tell you about day 3, a day of hardship and suffering. And I've got my notes here, so if I look down from time to time, it's just so I don't forget anything. So today I did 60 kilometers from Aylesford to Canterbury. And my oh my, what a trip. The first 40 kilometers was through the Kent Downs, and a lot of it was on tough gravel roads. The last 20 kilometers was the reward when I slowly, well, not so slowly, but when I raced into Canterbury to beat the dark. And that was all next to the Stour River, which was nice and level, which was a just reward. But impressions of the day. So the first one, and it comes on every tour, is the kindness and the goodness of strangers. Today I had 2 punctures, sat next to the road, repairing them, and without fail people stopped, asked if I was all right, if they can help. What nicety. I'm always struck and blown away by this. The next thing, my bicycle and everything that I have is just too heavy. The 2 punctures I had was as a direct result of pinch punctures, or because I just couldn't get the tire hard enough, and whenever I went on the rough Kent roads, I got a pinch puncture. The bicycle will just have to be made lighter. So, tomorrow I will have to reduce load, and I'll have to be aggressive. All camera gear will have to go back, except for my Samsung phone. No lenses. I'm anyway, most instances while cycling, you're just too tired to take time to compose and everything. So lenses have to go back. My other impression, I have to take more pictures. There were a few interesting instances where I did not take pictures. The one was when I did battle with the kissing gates. I don't know if anybody knows the kissing gate, but it's a little gate, and we'll put a picture in, but it is very narrow, so it's to prevent people from horses and with bicycles to go through there. So if you want to, you have to either unpack your bicycle and lift it over, or you will have to put your bicycle on its back wheel and with hook and crook and a few bad words get it around. Man, those gates are narrow. The next thing, life looks better after a meal. Yesterday morning, whilst I was cycling and on the Pilgrims Way, which is mostly a gravel road, so it's a traditional Pilgrims Way, but it's gravel and hasn't seen love for a while. And I didn't eat enough in the morning, and I was just in bad shape. And I considered quitting, and I considered a lot of other bad thoughts. But anyway, after a great meal at the Flying Horse, life just looked better. For a while anyway, until I got my second puncture. But till then, I was flying. Then my bicycle is not made for off-roading. This little foldable bicycle with 24 wheels wants to go on tar roads. So I will definitely keep that in mind. And I believe that from tomorrow onwards, or day after onwards, I will be cycling on the Via Francigena, and that is made for touring bicycles, so the road will be better. Then, when I started, and as with any expectation, when you start with anything, you think, well, I'm gonna do this and that, but the reality it's when you are there. So I realized that 60 kilometers a day will probably be the max, a stretch. And once I hit the Alps and the St. Bernard's Pass, it will probably be 30 kilometers going up, because I will be pushing probably most of the way. So that sort of changed the time frame, and I expect, well, I'll be lucky if I'm finished in 35 days from now. But it's not all bad. The less time I cycle, the more I have to take pictures, and the more time I've got for, to have creative thoughts for pictures. Otherwise, it's just going to be a blur and a suffering. Then, the Kent Downs is, as they call on all the signposts, a place of exceptional beauty, no doubt. It is absolutely beautiful. It is also now a place where the rich people stay. I don't know how many Aston Martins, Porsches, very expensive Range Rovers came past. So it's no longer farmers staying in the farm cottages. They are now super rich people. I also think the Kent Downs name is a little bit of a misnomer, and I've called it, amongst other things, the Kent Ups and Downs, because there are some serious hills. Not very high, but it's just up and down, and not moderate, but really steep down and steep up. Those ones that just kills you over time. So I now believe the guidebook that said that you can do it in 3 hard stages. And I did it, and it's 3 hard stages. And as a footnote, as I'm now in Canterbury, it was 165 kilometers from Southwark Cathedral to where I'm here in the YHA hostel in Canterbury. Before that, I also had a 25 kilometer from Heathrow Airport to Southwark Cathedral. So I'm standing roughly on 180 kilometers already. Then, the roads are narrow here in England. You saw a lot of the movies of these roads with the brush or the hedges on the side. They are real. And there's space for 1 car. So, as you cycle, you have to do a mini stop to let your cars coming by. It's actually a great excuse for me to get off the bicycle and push it a little bit, but for sure. It's very narrow, and it's also, you've got to have a little bit of nerve to survive it. If you are not comfortable cycling with cars, or you're not comfortable with cars coming very close to you, I don't think the the Via Francigena is really for you. But that's just my thought. So that is the impressions. So tomorrow I will be sending back a great amount of things to Canada and hopefully lessen the load, and it will just have to be aggressive. All that safety blanket that you normally take with will just not be there. Otherwise, I probably will not make it to Rome if I've got such a heavy bicycle. So it will have to reduce. So currently I'm staying in the YHA, which is a dorm hostel, and it's a 4-bed dorm hostel. So for some of my school friends who were in with me in Ermelo, you will know the drill. And I had a reasonably well night's sleep. Well, yeah, I'm recording this the day on the 4th day, just so it's clear. But I think the others did not, because I really just couldn't find a way to lie down. It was just aches all over. Luckily that got better and I fell into a good sleep. So I didn't get bothered by the other people. I'm sure I bothered them a lot. But anyway, that is day 3. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe here at the bottom. It gets this video out to others who also might want to do the Via Francigena. It might also get others motivated to do something epic. If I can do it, and I'm not a great sportsman, far from it, then anyone can do it. So please like, please subscribe so others can do it. And I hope you continue watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow when I give you feedback on day 4, which will be a rest and admin day. See you tomorrow. As I sit here next to my friend, also a tired pilgrim, I reflect that this pilgrimage from London to Canterbury has taken place since the year 1170. That was the year Thomas Becket died. And since then, they all made a pilgrimage to his grave, or where they kept his remains. So both of us feeling a little bit tired today. This guy was put in place or unveiled in the year 2007. So that is nearly 1,000 years after the pilgrimage started. So something else, this road that I'm cycling now is a very narrow and small road, but this used to be the road that the pilgrims took. So I'm walking in the feet or the footsteps of many thousands before me.